Hello and welcome back to Substream News. Substreamers, I'm so glad you're back for our new video format. Yes, we will be doing 2 videos a week, shorter, snappier. I will be talking a bit faster and just generally getting on with it. So let me jump straight into our first story this week. Warren Buffett, the world's 6th richest man and the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, has made amendments to his will. And what will happen to his $133 billion estate? Well, previously he'd pledged most of it to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now he says they're not going to see a single penny after he dies. Instead, it will be his 3 children who receive the vast majority of his wealth. Why? Well, each of his 3 children already have their own philanthropic organizations, and he believes that their values are now aligned with his and that they are the responsible people to redistribute his wealth. So what could they do with all of that money? Well, I've prepared some information here. With all that money, they could solve homelessness in the US for $11 billion. For $37 billion, they could solve chronic and extreme hunger around the world. $1 billion could solve trachoma, which affects tens or hundreds of millions of people and is a leading cause of blindness. $1.5 billion could wipe out polio, and about $8.5 billion could solve malaria. Malaria! That's incredible. So, what would you do with $133 billion? How would you change the world? Let's move on. And on to our next story. Sticking on the theme of mortality, Ray Kurzweil is a famous futurist and writer, and he believes that humans will someday live to see 1,000 years old. That seems unfathomable, but he believes that nanorobots may hold the answer and that they could stop us from aging. Well, what might that look like? I mean, in reality, his theory consists of 4 parts. It's nanorobots to slow down human deterioration, it's AI, biotechnology, and the ability or the evolution of medical technology to be able to shed the weakest parts of ourselves, basically our human form, and become bionic and eventually robotic people. The more I read about this, and it's a wonderful article which we'll link to, the more I thought of Theseus paradox. You may be familiar. It's Theseus' ship. Essentially, Theseus had a ship a long time ago, and it was found, and it was an old ship, rotting wood, and it goes to a museum. And over time, the rotting wood starts to deteriorate, and so they replace the parts. And over time, eventually, they've replaced the whole ship. And now there's a brand new ship, and there's a rotting pile of wood. Now, the paradox is, which one is Theseus' ship? Because the new one contains no parts, and all of the original ship is deconstructed in a pile of rotting wood. Now, apply that to the human body. If we were to replace all internal and external parts of our body, would we still be ourselves, or would we be some robotic humanoid? And would our human self be the rotting flesh somewhere, buried or cremated? Would that be us? There's a real existential paradox to answer there, and I don't have the answers. You might, and I suppose it's subjective. So let's not delay and move on to the next story. Okay, this is a good one, and before I give you an answer, I have a question for you. Which generation owes the most money, like debt? I'm talking about debt, right? So is it Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, or Boomer? Think now. I'm going to give you a bit more information. Well, this information or data was collected by anonymized credit reports in the US. So bear in mind, this is US specific, which has a totally different credit culture to other parts of the world, especially my native UK. Are you ready for the answer? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, Gen X, and that's people currently aged 44 to 59, you carry the biggest debt at average $33,000-ish. Millennials, that's me, 28 to 43, we're second, not good, about $30,000 each. Baby boomers are third, and that's only $19,000 each. That's for people aged 60 to 78. And Gen Z, of course, are in last place because they're too young to have accumulated the debt of other generations. But I believe they will eventually find themselves in first place. But currently, the average debt of someone from 18 to 27 is $16,500. Don't worry guys, there's still time, and I think before you start owing me money, let's move on to the next story. Okay, do you take multivitamins? Do you take a daily multivitamin? Allegedly, around 1/3 of Americans take a daily multivitamin, and that really surprised me. What surprised me even more is new research that says multivitamins do nothing for longevity. They are not helping you live longer, apparently. Well, the study was conducted on 400,000 people, so that's a really big sample size, especially for health research, and it went on for 20 years, which again, really big study. Unfortunately, the results were not what they expected. The scientists, and most people, would expect that multivitamins help you live longer. Apparently they don't. Not only do they not help you live longer, they also had no effect on cancer, heart disease, or chronic diseases. The result baffled scientists, who came up with a theory to kind of help support their own argument, which was that the most healthy people take multivitamins and the least healthy people take multivitamins, even more vitamins. And so they may have balanced each other out and created that medium that appears to show the results having no effect on longevity. I'm not sure. I don't take a multivitamin. What about you? I'd like to know your experience. If you take a multivitamin, do you think it helps? Do you think it's nonsense? Is it scientific? I'd like to know. Oh, and many months ago, we actually reported that one of the best ways to live longer, or a test you can do to see if you'll live longer, is being able to balance on one leg for 10 seconds. And I am doing it right now, although you can't see. I'm stood like a pelican in the park, or a flamingo rather. The reason is it's about muscle mass and balance and avoiding falls, because that's one of the main injuries for old people, is they fall and then they're not mobile and they slowly or quickly deteriorate. And so if you want to live longer, don't skip leg day. Isn't that bizarre? But that is scientific. There was a health and wellness and longevity theme to this video, and I've managed to get to this story without yet mentioning doctors and nurses and hospitals. But I've saved this wonderful story now. No, the bugs love me. So this is at Crescent Regional Hospital in Lancaster, Texas, where they have installed the world's first HoloBox. And, you can see it on screen now. This is an incredible thing that allows doctors to meet with their patients in 3D in real time. So it's kind of like Zoom 3D, but it's full human sized. The box shows your whole body, and it's a life-size hologram projection. The doctor, well, in this case, for the first one, the doctor's 30 miles away, but there's nothing to stop him being on the other side of the world, because all they need, they claim, is electricity and a good internet connection, and that's it, they can do it. And this comes from a Dutch company called HoloConnect. It's 86 inches tall, and wow, futurists. Substreamers, wow, I love this. I think there's so many applications for this. I can't name you one off the top of my head, but that's not my job. I think this is brilliant technology, and this is something from sci-fi or cartoons that I think is long overdue, and I'm really happy to see it. Well, that's it. We've got to the end, and this video is much shorter than usual, so I hope you managed to stay with me. I'm Joseph, your presenter. This is Substream News. We're trying to keep it even more brief and informative. If you enjoyed these stories, please give us a like. If you're not subscribed yet, please do. If you want to see more, go to our videos. We've got lots of shorts and long-form content, and then now we'll be creating more of this medium-length content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.